Hello everyone! After trying two flexible nib fountain pens, the Noodler's Flex Nib and the Jinhao X750, I decided that the nibs were not flexible enough, so I thought I would just get some flexible nibs and put them on my pens instead. I've seen a lot of people do that, and I thought, why not me? So I'm not new to fountain pens, but I'm new to customizing them. And as you can tell, it took me a few tries to figure it out. So what I wanted to do first is try to turn one of my pens into what is called, I guess on YouTube, a Frankenpen, which is basically using a G-nib, which is really used with a nib holder, because it's a dip pen. You just put the nib on a nib holder and then you dip it in ink and dip it again as you run out of ink. So I've seen a lot of people use those as nibs with their fountain pens, and they all make it sound pretty easy, so I thought I would give it a shot. Sometimes you have to tweak it a little bit, use pliers and shape them and all that. So I thought, yeah, it doesn't look too hard. First I took my Noodler's pen, the first one that I tried with the Flex Nib. I really like that pen. I just don't find it flexible enough for me. So I easily removed the nib, and because I had already tried it, it was full of ink. So of course I ended up with ink all over my fingers, but I expected it and didn't fit. The nib was a little bit too wide, and even using pliers off camera, I was not able to make it work for me. So then I used the Jinhao X750, removed the nib, tried to make the G-nib fit. Nope, it's too small. So I decided to use another pen that I hadn't tried before, because I read a lot of people use that one with a G-nib. It's the Jinhao X450. I just couldn't remove that nib. I tried so hard. I hurt my fingers. I just couldn't remove it. So I read somewhere else that the Jinhao X750 were actually the best ones to convert. And I found a really good deal on a set of 5, I think at like $20 or less on Amazon. So I bought a beautiful set of 5. And again, I just couldn't remove the nibs until I found a trick. I had an extra large rubber band, luckily, and you can use that as a grip. And I pulled really hard with the rubber band wrapped around the nib and the feed, and it worked. I finally was able to remove it. I put the G-nib on the feed, and it worked like a charm. It just kind of like snapped on, which was really cool. And then it fit really well inside the pen. The flow of the ink is beautiful. The pen works really well with that nib on. I can make really fine lines. I can make really wide lines. I loved it. It was so much better than the first two pens that came with a so-called flexible nib. You know, you really can't beat a G nib for flexibility. So I did my little master's drawing of Jacques Callot's dwarf with sword and dagger. It was a little tricky, although, you know, the ink flow was great. The line variation was beautiful. It was tricky because I had to adjust the direction of my pen. The best is to really pull it towards you to make all the lines you need, especially the wider lines. With a fountain pen, you can almost draw in any direction, but with this one, the nib is a bit scratchy on the paper, which is normal for this kind of nib, and I don't really mind it. That's what helps it make thinner lines too. But yeah, I had to really adapt and change the direction of my pen to make the lines where they were supposed to be. So some areas my lines are a little square, or more like pointy or sharp, you know, in the turns. But you know, it's just a matter of practicing and getting better at it. This was very enjoyable. I really like it. I used the Noodler's Lexington Gray, which is actually pretty dark. I didn't expect it to be that dark, but it's nice. And it's supposed to be waterproof, so that would be nice to line my drawing with this ink and use watercolor. So that's it for today. Out of my first 3 tries, this is my favorite so far. I still have quite a few things to test, so stay tuned for the next video with another nib to try. Thank you all for stopping by. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're feeling extra generous and would like to support this channel, you can always click on the thanks button right next to the share button. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.
you.